The psychology and philosophy of willpower. Willpower, that elusive mental muscle we often credit for our greatest achievements and blame for our frustrating failures, is far more than a simple matter of just trying harder. It sits at the fascinating intersection of cognitive psychology and moral philosophy, serving as a cornerstone for discussions on self-control, agency, and the very nature of human motivation. To truly understand willpower is to delve into the intricate processes that allow us to choose long-term rewards over immediate gratification, and to persevere in the face of internal resistance. The psychological lens. Willpower as a finite resource. In the realm of psychology, one of the most compelling and widely discussed theories is the ego depletion model, often associated with the work of social psychologist Roy Baumeister. This model posits that willpower, or self-control, operates much like a muscle or a limited energy source. Every act of deliberate self-regulation, whether it's resisting a cookie, focusing on a tedious task, or suppressing an emotional outburst, draws upon a single, shared reservoir of mental energy. This concept suggests that once the resource is depleted, or ego depleted, subsequent attempts at self-control become significantly harder. It's why an otherwise disciplined person might snap at a loved one or succumb to a junk food craving late in the evening after a long, stressful workday filled with tough decisions. The energy tank from making good choices is simply running on empty. However, the ego depletion theory has faced modern scrutiny and a complex pattern of replication failures. This has led to the development of alternative psychological models, which offer a subtler, perhaps more empowering view. The belief mindset model. Newer research suggests that a person's belief about their willpower's capacity dramatically affects their performance. If you believe your self-control is an inexhaustible resource, you're less likely to show depletion effects after a demanding task. This shifts the focus from a purely physiological drain to the cognitive interpretation of effort. The motivational shift model. Rather than a simple energy drop, some researchers propose that after exerting self-control, we experience a shift in motivational priority. The mind simply decides that the cost of the next self-control task is too high, and the individual subconsciously prioritize rest, pleasure, or ease. It's not that they can't do the task, but that they don't want to, and feel justified in stopping. This places the mechanism in the realm of choice and value, not just simple exhaustion. A powerful psychological technique that capitalizes on this is implementation intention, or if-then planning. By pre-deciding a response to a predicted obstacle, for example, if I am offered a donut, then I will say, "No thank you, I have a healthy snack in my bag." You move the control from the high-energy, depleted system of active deliberation to a low-energy, automatic response system. Focus. The philosophical dimension, willpower and free will. When we step into the philosophical arena, the discussion of willpower transcends mere cognitive function and touches upon the profound concepts of autonomy, moral responsibility, and free will. Classical philosophers often viewed the human psyche as a kind of internal government, with reason, or the rational soul, meant to rule over the appetites, or the passionate soul. Aristotle and acrasia. Aristotle wrestled with the problem of acrasia, which is often translated as weakness of will or incontinence. It's the phenomenon of knowing the right thing to do, but doing the opposite. For Aristotle, acrasia wasn't simply a lack of effort, it was a temporary breakdown in the proper functioning of practical reason. The Socratic person allows their passion or desire to override their rational judgment at the moment of action. This perspective suggests that willpower isn't just about resisting, it's about successfully applying one's rational belief to one's action. Existentialism and radical freedom. Later philosophies, particularly existentialism, think figures like Jean-Paul Sartre, place a much heavier burden on willpower. From this viewpoint, there is no pre-given nature or essence to a human being. Existence precedes essence. Therefore, every single choice is an act of radical freedom that defines who we are. Willpower becomes the mechanism through which we enact this freedom and create our values. When you choose to resist a bad habit, you are not just exercising a mental skill, you are choosing the kind of person you will be, a creator of your own ethical identity. The failure of willpower is thus the failure to embrace this defining freedom, a kind of bad faith. Nietzsche and the will to power. Friedrich Nietzsche offered a unique, ambitious perspective. For him, the ultimate driving force in life is the will to power, not mere domination over others, but the constant drive for self-overcoming, growth, and mastery. Willpower, in the everyday sense, is a subset of this greater cosmic force. It is the individual's tool for shaping their character, creating their own values outside of conventional morality, and rising above the passive herd mentality. True willpower in this context is less about grim resistance and more about an affirmation of life and the relentless pursuit of one's highest potential. Key: cultivating the will, beyond gritting your teeth. The most advanced understanding of willpower integrates these fields, realizing that while effort is necessary, strategy and philosophy are the true levers of control. We don't just need more stamina, we need a better system and a compelling reason. 1. Harness context, not just grit. Focus on environmental engineering over sheer effort. It's easier to not have to resist the impulse in the first place. This means removing temptations from sight and creating automatic triggers for desired behaviors. For example, placing running shoes by the bed, deleting social media apps. 2. The power of identity. Willpower becomes effortless when it aligns with your self-image. Instead of viewing the act as, "I am resisting this unhealthy food," frame it as, "I am a healthy person, and healthy people don't eat this." This shifts the effort from resisting a temptation to living an identity, which requires far less cognitive load. 3. Reframing fatigue. Acknowledge the psychological studies that suggest your belief about your willpower matters. When you feel drained, instead of thinking, "I'm out of juice, I must stop," reframe it as, "I've been working hard, but my commitment is stronger than this momentary feeling of weariness." Treat your mental fatigue not as a dead stop, but as a cue to temporarily switch tasks or take a brief restorative break. Willpower, therefore, is not a mystical gift bestowed upon the fortunate, nor is it merely a fuel tank that runs dry. It is a complex, trainable skill rooted in both neurological executive function and philosophical self-definition. It is the moment where our deepest values meet our daily actions, the bridge between who we are now and who we intend to become. If you found this deep dive into the dual nature of self-control fascinating, I encourage you to share your own thoughts. What are your personal strategies for strengthening your willpower, and which of these philosophical or psychological models resonates most with your experience? Drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel for more discussions on mastering your mind, and be sure to hit that like button to affirm the power of the will to knowledge.